Welcome back, everybody, to WCNC Plus. We are here on Live Weather Impact. To join me is going to be Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley from WFMY, and of course our Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich up in the mountains. We are into another day of continuing coverage on Hurricane Helene. Of course, we know the anniversary is coming up on Saturday when it impacted the Carolinas. We do want to quickly show you where Helene was this time last year. So on September 23rd, you can see it was a potential tropical cyclone. That is the name, or I guess before the name that happens from the National Hurricane Center. They call it a potential tropical cyclone if they want to issue watches and warnings before the storm is expected to actually become a depression or a named storm. Really, the forecast overall, the cone, didn't change much from this. It was a very, very good forecast from the NWS and the NHC. And this is kind of the time that I know I can speak for myself and Brad, of course, because we were in the Weather Center at WCNC, really starting to get concerned about the rain risk and, of course, the flooding risk, since we were already seeing rain from the predecessor rain event that caused Helene to be so bad. Again, we're going to bring in Tim and Brad here. Brad, you are up in Fleetwood today. You've been doing coverage of the mountains the last few days. What was specific to bring you to Fleetwood today on Tuesday?
Well, Fleetwood was an area I came to about a week and a half after the storm, and we started in Todd, which is, if you don't know where Todd is, it's basically right on the Watauga-Ashe County line. Fleetwood is about halfway between the Watauga County line and West Jefferson. So it's a small community. It's on the New River. The New River is an amazing stretch of water. It actually flows north into Virginia, so it flows not out of the mountains but back north into Virginia. And what people know about the New River, if you have never been up here, it's a very calm, tranquil, wide river that a lot of people float on. And floats, if you don't know what that are, you get your inner tubes, everybody kind of goes together and they drift downstream. They also kayak, fly fish, and canoe. But what's interesting, there's this little area where people get out. They go upstream, they float, and if you've ever done this, you know what I'm talking about. And then you get out and you get picked back up and taken back to your car. Well, that area is right where this church is behind me. And this church is called the New River Calvary Church. Now, it's a famous church in Fleetwood because it is one of only two churches in the whole town, and it's 101 years old, and it survived the flood of 1940. But as you can see, the beautiful stained glass windows are not seen right now because they're actually boarded up. It's been boarded up since Helene. The damage was pretty extensive, and they basically are going to move the church. Yesterday I talked about a church that was being raised. This church is actually being picked up and moved uphill out of the floodplain. So I'll get out of the way, and up here is going to kind of pan over there. It's going to get moved back there out of the floodplain, and it's going to expand. Now, the reason I mentioned the floats and the kayaks, because this church is known to people that don't even go to it, because if you've ever done one of those floats, this is where you get out, and the church actually has an area across the street where there's a big parking lot, stairs out of the river, and a porta-john. And the pastor we talked to today told me why that porta-john was so important. He's like, there's tons of bathrooms upstream in Todd, but there was none down here. They saw a problem. So they actually donated that, and they allow people to get out of the water and use that porta-john. But the pastor, Roger Perry, we talked to him today, and he was super excited about the fact that yes, they had damage, but they're going to be able to move this church. And part of the, I guess, the silver lining of this, guys, is being able to move the church could end up allowing them to expand their congregation. Because the church is in a floodplain right now, they weren't able to expand. They weren't allowed to build anywhere in the floodplain. But because they're moving it up there, they're going to be able to expand it. And he talked a little bit about being able to move it and what they're going to do in the future.
Well, we're planning to actually move the 101-year-old sanctuary back out of the floodplain and then add on to it.
Okay.
Where we will build back better than what we were. We are going to have a major campaign Sunday with the people in the church to have them make commitments. The plan is to tear down the fellowship hall here. Mm-hmm. It was completely flooded all the way up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And the sanctuary sits a little higher, obviously, and it got up about 4 or 5 feet in the sanctuary.
Wow.
Ruined the baby grand piano and the organ. All the books and everything, they're all gone.
Yeah, so Roger was very, very forthcoming about what their plans were, what they're looking forward to. They still need some money. He said they're putting in God's hands because they don't know where all the money's going to come from right now. They haven't even got a contractor yet. Somebody in the town, the trustee Fred, was actually helping clear the land. And that's one thing I'll tell you guys about Fleetwood. Since we've been here, Pierre, my photographer, we've been here. We've had people stop by and ask us, do you need us to get the pastor? Do you want to talk to us? And we just had a woman stop by who was super excited that we were here, and it was kind of the reason we're in these small towns, guys. It was great to hear. She was like, I'm just glad you guys are here telling the story of Fleetwood, because she came down because her friend saw that Fleetwood was on TV today at 4, 5, and 6 on our station. So she drove down to say hey and thank you for talking about the small towns. And Fleetwood's just one of many small towns across the Western Carolinas impacted, and they still have a long ways to go. We saw someone today who told us, a local, that they're about 90% back, but it's that 10% that could take several more years to finish up. And so there's still that percentage that has to be done. So Tim, a lot of relief still going on up here, some good stories, but also, boy, there's a long way to go. And the tropics are heating up now, and obviously everybody up here is definitely glued to what's happening in the tropics. They do not want to see another storm anytime soon.
Yeah, sure. Brad, you make such a great point. It's always good to be prepared. And this time of year, September, as we know, we talk about it almost every day. There's some sort of hurricane anniversary in the Carolinas. This is the time of year that we really have to be on our toes. And we are seeing some signs that the tropics could be creating a few more storms over the next couple of days. It's always good for us to be prepared, of course, as citizens in the Carolinas as we get ready for whatever might come our way. But it's also really important that we have emergency crews that are always prepared as well.